Sometimes I tend to push myself too hard, wanting to rush things even when I don't really know how to do them. Time and time again, I have to stop, take a breath, and remind myself to be patient. Does that happen to you too? In today's video, I'm taking you on a little trip to the city of Santander, and later, I'll share the story behind my mystical portraits. What do you say? Want to come along? When I came back from my travels, I promised myself that once I hit 100 subscribers, I would find a cute little cafe to treat myself to some chocolate pancakes. And of course, I thought I could show you a bit of the city too. Now, I'm not exactly a pro YouTuber just yet, so filming in public and asking for permission is still outside my comfort zone. Please bear with me if this isn't the most polished city too. I promise I'll get better. And to everyone who's already here, thank you so much for your support and the lovely comments you've left me. I know 100 subscribers isn't a big deal on YouTube, but after such a tough year, believe me when I say it means the world to me. So thank you. Santander, for those of you outside Spain, is a coastal city in the north of the country. I think it's a really beautiful place to walk around. The blue of the sea contrasts with the green of its mountains, and though you can see it in these shots, the more distant peaks still had snow on their summits during this walk. I believe beauty can be found anywhere if you're open to seeing it. But more than that, beauty becomes even more meaningful when we connect it to memories and share experiences. But, of course, we also have the power to create it ourselves. After a whole morning surrounded by people, shops, and the buzz of cars, returning to my peaceful little valley feels like such a privilege. Even more when I can set up a little spot in the living room, grab my iPad and draw for a while. This brings me back to what I mentioned earlier in the video, how I tend to push myself and need to remind myself to be patient. I love drawing, but after such an emotionally intense summer, where my mind was more focused on personal dramas than on creating, sitting down to draw felt as daunting as climbing a mountain. Imposter syndrome crept in, blocking me completely. Nothing seemed to turn out right, which only made things worse, trapping me in a vicious cycle that was hard to escape. On top of that, I've carried this silly belief that for art to be taken seriously, portraits need to look as realistic as photographs. I guess that idea comes from comments I've heard in the past. But now I see how misguided that thought is. Sure, lots of people think that way, but personally, I'm much more drawn to illustrations where you can feel the hands of the artist, where the intention goes beyond just reproducing reality and aims to tell a story. Sometimes, the viewer might even interpret something entirely different from what the artist intended. To me, that's where the magic of art lies. So this time, I wanted to approach things differently, and I came up with a little challenge to help me rediscover my joy in drawing without pressure. I reached out to my friends and asked them to send me photos they really loved of themselves, and I promised to draw them in a way that reflected what came to my mind when I saw them. That's how my mystical portraits were born. When one of them sent me her photo, I immediately pictured an owl and peonies. It seemed random at first, but when I looked at the symbolism, I realized they perfectly capture the beauty I see in her. The owl represents magic, wisdom, mystery, and transformation, while peonies symbolize beauty and prosperity. I did the same for Irma. Her portrait features soft pink tones, hibiscus flowers symbolizing femininity and beauty, and hummingbirds, which stand for perseverance and divine messages. Interestingly, Irma channels guidance from spiritual realms, helping others find peace through those messages. With Laura, I went even further. I've drawn her many times before, so she doesn't mind if I take creative liberties, or so I hope. In her portrait, she's face to face with a black cat, almost her size, surrounded by yellow rue. Rue is known for its connection to protection, healing, and purification, while the cat symbolizes intuition and spiritual guardianship. I also made her eyes slightly larger than life. It reflects her ability to see beyond the surface. This portrait speaks to her wisdom, her connection to the unseen, and the way she always protects and cares for the people she loves. Creating these illustrations has been a challenge, but at the same time, it's helping me rebuild the habit of sitting down to draw, to remember and to improve. But more than that, it's helping me find a new way to communicate and express myself through art, letting creativity flow without trying to control it too much. I decided to give Laura her portrait, along with a message that mirrors the illustration's intention, reminding her of the magic, beauty, and power I see in her, especially on days when she forgets. My hope is that when she looks at it, she'll remember just how special she is. What do you think? Does it make a good gift? Would you like to receive something like this, filled with symbolism and meaning to remind you of your own beauty on days you might forget? The way we see others and the way they see us can hold so much power. Maybe it's time we start sharing those loving and kind thoughts to our loved ones more often. Don't you think? Hi everybody. Maybe you were waiting for a more festive video this week, but forgive me if my spirit this year is more like the Grinch than not a Christmassy one. So instead of wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, I want to wish you something else, maybe something easier, especially for the next year. Because sometimes happiness feels like something too big, you know? Maybe it's easier to find joy in every day, even if it's a small thing. For example, this little fella over here. So, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. I'm gonna have these days to rest a little bit, especially my head. And yeah, after that, I hope we'll see each other more often. So sending you a big hug. Thank you for being here to get to the end of the video, and see you soon. Goodbye. Let's say goodbye. Say goodbye. Goodbye.